better.
South Crofty, the last mine in Europe dedicated purely to tin. Just to stay alive, it's endured centuries of upheaval. For generations of miners, Crofty has meant one thing: danger. But it has also meant work.
It's a job. There's jobs are few and far between these days, so beggars can't be choosers. I enjoy what I'm doing. The money could be better, but we can't have everything.
It's got to be in your blood to want to do that kind of thing. Some people say we're crazy. It helps.
Down at the front line, Taffy O'Brien drives the mucker, a mechanical gopher which clears the way for the drillers. The water may dampen the dust, but it doesn't cool the air. Temperatures often exceed 100 degrees Fahrenheit. For men like Bernie Harradine, every day brings sweat and toil. Yet like countless miners before him, the desire to hit a rich vein is a driving force.
It gets a part of you. You can't deny it. It's one of those jobs, you either love it or you hate it. And most people get quite affected by it. It's part of the heritage, part of this part of the world. Very important.
We're on 315 level now. This level's probably 40 odd years old. A lot of the tunnel at the moment is quite narrow, and as we go in, the tunnels get a lot smaller. I was at this level possibly 12 years ago, right inside. Did a bit of stoping in there. There was a stage, you know, when I started here, there was probably 50 or 60 men working on this level. Nowadays, you've got just over that working underground. So, frightening thing, really. 700 people working in the whole mine 14 years ago, down to the total workforce of under 200, and that's including service workers.
Gary and Mark Kaczmarek live and breathe Crofty. Mark is full of anecdotes.
There's some right characters in those days. There's a shift boss on this level, and he had a habit every time he talked. He used to go, "Oh, right boy, oh." So they used to hang bones up for the bloke, pretend he was a dog, and he cracked up in the end. But, you know, people are cruel, but they got to take the stick. You got to be somewhat mad to work down these places. Whoa. Off track. Off track. Who done that?
As in the old days, when the tin price drops, the rot sets in. In the 1980s, stricken Cornish mines, already struggling to make a profit, closed down for good. Even now, times are hard.
I think you only got to look at Cornish mining as a whole. They've had their ups and downs for over a century now. We're in an era now where we aren't making any money, and we're hanging on in there.
Tin may be a precious metal, but its value fluctuates daily. Crofty can lose up to £1,000 a tonne in a week. It leaves the management with a morale-boosting job to do.
This doesn't represent the hard work that's gone in here. That's the most difficult thing to get across to the layman, is how much work, how much explosive, how many hours have been put in just to get this small amount of tin out. There aren't many mines left producing tin in the world, and there is a strong demand for tin. The world cannot do without tin.
Turn the iron water on.
Okay. Coming up.
Okay.
What holes like them?
Oh, I pulled the ass. It's
It
all
broke
right.
right out.
Yeah.
That's good. The tin price going down again.
Yeah. This was a good load in here. That'll make up for it.
Oh, you're good grade, but I know, he's beating your head against walls sometimes. All you're doing is working and feeding somebody on the stock exchange, aren't you? Don't care anything about us, really.
Well, they want to be down here doing the job, don't they?
Yeah. This is the actual tin that we're mining. This is the load. You've got granite contact there, granite contact here. Normally on a shift, we will probably break maybe 100 tons of ore, and running at 8%, you've got 8 tons of tin, which at the present price is £3,400 a tonne.
Like all Crofty miners, Mark has taken a pay cut to keep the mine alive, a decision his wife supported.
It's Mark, really. I couldn't imagine him doing anything else. He went down there because his father worked down there. It was something he always wanted to do. So that's what he's good at, and that's what he does best, I think. And I'm proud of him for doing it, but I'd like to think that my son would have more choice. The future... Well, I think there is a future there for perhaps the next 15 to 20 years. Beyond that, I wouldn't like to say. If South Crofty went, it would be the last bit of Cornwall, really, as far as the mining's concerned. And, of course, it's important to us because it's my husband's job. There are times when, you know, if you're not on a good contract or if you're not on a contract at all, the money is quite bad. But you have to, well, take the good with the bad, or take the bad with the good, whichever way you look at it. And as we've done, when we've had good contracts, we've put a little bit aside to see us through the bad times.
I don't worry so much now. We used to worry. I was worried a lot, you know, what would happen with the mortgage, and I actually left the mine at one stage and went up country to work. But when you come back to something like this here, money isn't worth it. The hours are good at South Crofty, and when you finish, you can get up and get out and enjoy yourself.
Formerly a teacher, Bernie Harradine gave up the schoolroom to drill holes.
Long hole drilling is exactly what it says. It's drilling long holes into an ore body that's already been exposed by driving on it. And it takes out large tonnages of ground, much more than the normal shrink stoping that used to be done. There's some shrink stoping done here, but the majority is all long hole drilling. You'll often find, in fact, that the big blokes are the ones who don't stick the pace, you know. Most of the small guys seem to go on for a long time. It's not what you're made of, it's, you know, I suppose it's how you use it.
Taffy O'Brien's ambition is to be a driller. At Crofty, that takes time. Miners are expected to prove themselves first.
Mining's not easy, far from it. It's hard work. It's something you either like or you'll dislike. And there's only one way to find out, and that is, you know, by doing it, by doing the job.
Coming from a Welsh family which moved to Cornwall, Taffy has had to put up with the miners' jokes and jibes. So it's a relief to go for a pint with a fellow Welshman, his father.
Well, that's sunshine. In you go. You're round. How are you coping now, all right?
Yeah, come on, struggle first off, you know. First couple of weeks, especially when we was down in Roscoe, down at 4:45. It's so bloody hot in there, like, you know.
Yeah.
But it's not too bad where we are now. But yeah, getting the hang of it now.
Have they improved the ventilation down there or what?
Well, they haven't. They're doing a lot now with this Roscoe shaft, so they've got the fans off a lot of the time, like, you know, so when that's off, obviously the ventilation's a lot worse. How's things going with the choir then?
Oh, not bad. We got a big rehearsal on Friday night, so we've got several songs all connected with mining and Cornwall, which we're going to put together. I say we're busy at the moment.
Dave's warm-ups for the Holman Climax Choir take place at Crofty's Mill.
You get a little drunk and you end in jail. Old Man River, that old Man River, he just keeps rolling along. Oh, sing me a song of the great days of yore, when Balmain's worked at the line, when old man captains bullied and swore, and hard got petrol to burrow and pull, to cut through the deep rocks and bring up the ore to one world of bright daylight shine. Oh, sing to me love of the brave rock of men, those strong tireless men of our shore, who crawl on their bellies, who seem so thin with their pain, like bodies and spent skin. They struggle to cut out the copper and tin from the hard rocks beneath our stone. They say they were skilled both in hand and in line, they burrowed like bones below. Far from the light of the bright morning sky, the glint of the sun on the road on high, it fell like darkness with death ever nigh, like flickering candlelight glow. Oh, where are they now, those brave hard-rock men, and where have they gone to lie down? They've gone to the ends of the earth again, to seek new livings of sorrow and pain. Beneath us and mountains and tropical plain, where strangers are dwelling above. Fire!
South Crofty's future is not just in the hands of men. Women are now going underground to draw up plans and tell miners like Bernie Harradine where the best of the tin might be. Bernie's already worked out one area and now needs to move on.
Up to 1903, up as 6 metres, and that's it, finished, right?
Right.
So I've got to move back now to that sludge ring. What do you want me to do?
You can set up tight to the north wall.
Yeah.
Got broken which actually quite nicely.
Yeah.
But the cables are sort of pinning it back as well. So.
Kind of.
Yeah, so I'll lay out some plans for that.
Yeah, well, I'll need to know that, all right.
Yeah.
If you can give me those as well.
If you can get the sludge up to us as soon as you can.
Yeah, well, that'll be
then,
tomorrow.
Then we'll get it on the way.
Yeah.
And you'll have sections all the way back to the
It'll take me a couple of days to drill that.
Yeah.
Those first 2 rings anyway.
And down slot's going to be difficult, isn't it?
Do you know what angle that raise is running away from me? Right, so I'm not going to. It's going to be tricky for me to hold. Any idea what angle?
It wasn't picked up by survey, so we don't know. Right. I can only go by the patterns that we drilled up, that you drilled and blasted.
Right. Well, could you try and find out for me?
Yeah.
Give me an idea, because I really could do with that.
Yeah.
I'm going to have a problem holding into that raise.
2,000 feet into the earth, Bernie drills new ground. Crofty's tin reserves have been pinpointed, but experience counts for everything.
It's a very wonderful mine. It's very unique. I'd say that obviously because I haven't worked in any other mines so far. I came straight from Camborne School of Mines to this place. But it's a good environment, and I've learnt a lot from this place because of its uniqueness. You get involved with all sorts of things that you wouldn't do on more modern, larger mines. So I'm very fond of the place. The miners are very different. If you compare the wages that they were receiving 10 years ago when the tin price was over £10,000, I feel they're underpaid. And of course, I'm underpaid as well.
Oh, God, I look sick there, don't I? Don't I look ill? Do you reckon?
Well, even when you stopped for your Croust at 11 o'clock, I was still painting then and doing these, you know, these pictures of you two sitting there sipping out of your thermos.
I think one of the lovely ones actually is one of these down here, kind of the line drawings. Can I?
Yeah, this one. Right.
When I felt really ill in the morning.
Well, that was first thing before you started. Yeah, I don't know whether you actually call that Croust because it's not really a.
No, it's not a Croust.
But it's before you start
It's just building up. Yeah.
But you had obviously had a few too many beers the night before.
Yeah, I'm a heller for that.
And
you know what I mean?
It comes across, you know. Oh, my head, you know. And the thing then, after that, you go to work with this great big drill.
Yeah.
I was aware of that temperature. I remember where there was that area where we went in the space of about 100 yards. And we went from wearing coats, those waterproof anorak things, and then suddenly you were in your T-shirts because it was just so hot. And then when we actually worked, well, when you were actually working and I went to paint with you where you were working, the temperature was it's more intense, and the humidity as well, because presumably your machines are on, so there was the fungal coming out and, you know, all this steam and water vapour, and the humidity was up, and I couldn't believe it. And it was at that point that I questioned whether I could actually paint in that situation, especially painting watercolours. But
that's when I thought you might be absolutely wild.
Was that the point you thought I was going to start running?
No, I didn't. No, I don't take anybody down there. You know what I mean?
No, you had some confidence in me.
No, I did some. Yeah.
But it was simply a matter of finding the right space to sit in, so I wasn't in direct blast of your exhaust and water vapour coming out of your drills.
Right.
And by finding the right spots, then I found it was feasible to paint in that situation. And
you looked a little bit miffed once you did that.
Well, the other thing is, apart from all the water vapours, of course, you're getting these drips going blip, blip, from all around the roof. And so whenever I sat down to paint, I had to look at the roof to see whether there was like water droplets about to drop on me. So there was nothing worse than sitting down. I was just like 10 minutes into starting a painting and suddenly, bloosh, right in the middle, and I'd just got some detail, which was quite difficult to get in the situation.
It can be like that underground, I tell you. It's a real bugger.
Luckily, I had that facility of being able to run back up the drive to where you have your Croust.
Yeah, I know. You're flying
and put all
around
my paintings
like that,
around there to dry a little bit, and run back down to where you were working and start another one, and then run that back up, and then take one that I'd done a bit of work on and run that back down again. And
did 9 hours feel like 9 hours down there?
It shot by. I mean,
flew past,
I couldn't believe it.
Day in paradise. Oh, it's nice going out Monday morning, isn't it?
Gary and Mark travel at 20 miles per hour downwards in the cage yet again. Today, though, they've got different mates. Mark is continuing the pursuit of tin, while Gary has a new job, making sure the roof of a Crofty cavern doesn't fall down. Whilst the Catch Marrocks go in opposite directions, the cage team call it a day. All the miners are down, including Gary's new mate, a boy on the way up, Taffy O'Brien.
Take a weight on there, I'll drill lay in a minute. Been together now, about 12 months. He was tramming before, I mean, pretty new to machines, but it's coming on all right. Generally speaking, you're brought on with another miner. They'll split a couple of good miners up or something, and bring in 2 boys that haven't seen a machine before, basically, and then just train them up 12 months or so, and then they should be ready for their tickets.
We get on reasonably well. Basically, I'm the boy and I got to do as I'm told. He's the boss of what Gary says goes, basically. I think as 2 foreigners, we get on quite well.
Celts, aren't we?
Yeah, Celts. The job I was doing over at Wheel Jane wasn't physical enough for me, really. It was shift work, which I found awkward anyway. But I've always wanted to get into mining, you know, so I came over to South Crofty first and basically worked there on the transport side of things first, and you move along the lines. Like, you know, you go on from that to tramming, construction, and gradually, when the opportunity arises, to get on machines.
And to earn less money, yeah?
And earn less money, yeah, basically, yeah.
It's a good job. I mean, I enjoy mining. It's part of my life, it's part of the history, really. I mean, my father was here for 40 years. And it's in the blood. It's a bit depressing when you go up summertime and see the sun there, but other than that, I mean, wintertime, it's got its, you know, good points, yeah.
Get out. Come on. Bloody leg is all or nothing. Right. Getting up.
If we left alone, innit, you know, if we left alone, get on with contracts, a lot of the time they tend to mess us about a lot, you know?
It's basically the money situation again. They haven't got the funds to supply you with the right gear, or any gear, basically.
At the end of the day, it all boils down to the tin price, basically, you know. Until the tin price goes up, the wages ain't going to go up. We take each week as it comes. Each week is a bonus. We get paid, and that's the only way we can look at it at the moment, is from week to week.
Got it? Well, mate. Go on, mate. Hang on, I'll write them off. Right? Do that fit there, really?
Although Cornish miners often leave Crofty for better pay in other countries, there are plenty of others who prefer to stay. They're still prospectors at heart, hoping that the price of tin will go through the roof and they'll get bigger wage packets. For Bernie Harradine, losing 8 hours of daylight to explode the rock underground is a way of life. Bernie says he'd like to live to a ripe old age, but he's not expecting it.
Move rails, pipes, move rig for sludging. Okay.
Part 2 of South Crofty can be seen on Tuesday at 7:30 and repeated here at the same time next Sunday.